Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Aaron from Joystick Studios, and today we've got part 3 of our Dark Souls walkthrough. Alright, so we're fresh off killing the Tauros demon, and we're going to make our way towards the Undead Parish. So this first little section here just has an item up here behind these boxes, and then we're going to make our way to the Dragon Bridge. But first, we're going to talk to an NPC who's pretty important. That door right there goes down to the lower Undead Burg, and that's where we'll be heading through after we defeat the Gargoyles. So this NPC here is Solaire, and he's a very interesting NPC. He's got, a lot of interesting questions about him and his identity and stuff. So, but go ahead and talk to him and agree to what he says, and he'll give you a white sign soapstone. So you can place your name down on the ground and have other players summon you to help them against bosses. And you will get a reward for that too. You get souls, so that's nice. So just go ahead and wait for that dragon to breathe fire across the bridge first. Duck into that room there, or you can go over by Solaire, and then come down these stairs here. And what this is going to do is it's going to unlock a shortcut all the way back to the Undead Burg, and I'm sure you'll recognize it. This room here is that first bonfire we unlocked in the Undead Burg. And we're going to head down and level up. And always make sure you're cracking your souls that are in your inventory, and you're leveling your character up how you want them to be built, basically. Whatever build you're going for. Make sure you level up your stats, because certain items have stat requirements and they scale with other stats. If you want me to explain that, I can do a video on stat scaling or weapon scaling and stuff like that. So you want to line yourself up here and come underneath the bridge. And when you do, you're going to take your bow, aim it at the tail of the dragon, and continue shooting it. It's set on damage. So as you can see, I shot 19 arrows, but I missed like 4 or 5. So it's a damage thing. So you want to hit it enough, and its tail will pop off, and you'll get a very, very powerful weapon called the Drake Sword. And that's very useful for new players early on in the game. And after we get that Drake Sword, we're going to go this way into the rest of the under area of the bridge. And there's going to be some rats in here. Be very careful. Don't just rush in there, because they will all surround you and poison you. So you want to fight them one by one like I did here. Don't rush in. Remember, the most important rule of Dark Souls is do not get grouped up on. Lure your enemies out one by one and take them out. And the game is infinitely easier that way. And that Drake Sword we picked up is going to make the early game a lot easier. So if you're having any troubles, go ahead and use that Drake Sword. So now we come up over here, and I'm going to take this guy out first. And normally we would continue on our path, but we're going to do everything. So there's a bonfire behind me, behind a metal gate that we're going to go ahead and open. So if we go all the way back down here, go across the bridge again, I'm going to show you how to get to that bonfire. So this can be a bit sketchy. That Ring of Sacrifice we picked up, if we want to use that here, this would be a good spot to do it. There's usually one attack this dragon will do when you go for this run that will pretty much kill you. It'll kill you or leave you, pretty much dead. But what you want to do is you want to come out here, he'll blow fire, stand behind this wall. I always put my shield up just in case it clips through the wall and hits me. But as soon as he goes to leap off that building, you want to sprint around this corner and run towards the doorway underneath him that he's guarding. And like I said, depending on the attack he does, here I get stuck on his foot, so he does like a stomp attack, which, completely misses me, luckily. He has one attack he'll do where he'll jump up and he'll shoot fire straight down, and it covers the entire bridge in fire. That attack will hit you. I'm not sure how to get him to do certain moves, but it's, if you die on it, try it again. Not a big deal. But you get around to this bonfire, and you have a nice little place to refill your Estus flasks and level up. You can come out here and grab these treasures. The Claymore, which is a very good weapon. And then go ahead and don't, like I said, don't forget, keep cracking those souls that you pick up and keep leveling your character up as you go. And I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. I was looking at my equipment for some reason. Now I was going to come up here and fight this knight, but I decided to take this guy out just in case he aggroes on me and falls me up the stairs, because sometimes you never know. Just always watch your back as well, because enemies can aggro on you and then delay. So this guy up here, I definitely would not recommend fighting right off the bat, but actually I find it easier to fight him up here in the top of this tower. It's a much smaller area, but it's easier than in a bigger area. And basically we're just going to circle around his shield side and backstab him just like we did the last night. I don't believe you can parry him with that great sword, but you have to be very careful, because if he even connects with your shield with that great sword, it's going to guard break you and almost one-shot you. And you'll see he hits me in this little exchange. You want him to do that stab attack, so you want to be back a little bit. You don't want to be like right up on him. Be like mid-range from him, and he'll keep doing those kind of attacks, which are much easier to dodge than his big swings. But this knight, like the other knight that we fought, is intended for you to come back and take care of. When you're stronger. So no shame in leaving him here. And yeah, he definitely got me there, but don't panic. Another important thing I've mentioned before, don't panic. Or just think about it. I mean, I backstabbed him a few times before he hit me, so what was going through my mind at the time that he hit me is not, wow, I'm almost dead, was that, okay, just calm down, continue what you're already doing, and when you get a better opportunity, heal. So now we're going to make our way towards the chapel part of the Undead Parish. And I get myself into a bit of trouble here. Normally you want to rush this guy and take him out as quick as possible. But I don't do that because I have a dagger. And this other guy gets up on me and stabs me. So I get in a bit of trouble here, but they're just regular hollows, so you can just, back off and take them out. So I'm going to top off. You can double chug your Estus Flask if you tap X twice, by the way. Take this guy out, and then we're not going to go ahead and walk towards the fire out there. We're going to take a right. We're going to go up a stairway. Up this stairway, we have a little engagement here that's kind of interesting. We have one of these spear shield hollows, and he's going to kind of turtle from us and get us to open ourselves up. And behind him is two crossbow hollows that will be shooting at us the whole time, so it can be very irritating, actually. And there's going to be another hollow that usually aggroes on you in this situation, and will come up those stairs behind you. So see what I did there? I was having trouble getting the shield hollow to die, so or to open himself up to me. So what I did was I swung on him one little R1 or right bumper, and then he opened himself up, counterattacking, and he died. So you can either kick his shield out of his hand, or you can get him to open himself up that way. I was expecting that other hollow to come running up those stairs, but he didn't. He's actually stuck on the boar down at the bottom. Now, for this boar, the game actually gives you these things right there. They're called the luring skulls, and what you can do is you can throw them down. You're supposed to throw them like right into the fire, and as you can see, that boar is very weak to fire, and he'll walk into the flames, and it'll usually kill him, but I missed two of the throws like a scrub, so. And then I tried to kill him with my magic, realized it wasn't doing anything, and then remembered, oh yeah, he's weak to fire. So if you have to use fire bombs, that'll take him out pretty quick as well. There's also a glitch wall that you can, it's not a glitch wall, but there's like a barrier he can't go through. even though he can clearly fit through it, and it's over here. I'll show you right when we pass through it, right there. That doorway right there, he can't pass through, but you can stand in that doorway and continuously hit him. He hits an invisible wall. Now, I would not recommend chasing this guy in here because it opens up a ambush scenario. He's actually literally going to lure you in there to get you ambushed by all these hollows. Because at this point, the only real threat these kind of hollows are going to possess is in a big crowd. So then my terrible attempt at parrying him there. And then we do get him. We successfully do it there. Got to heal again, so just going right through those Estus flasks. But anyway, you come in here. These are just regular hollows you're going to have to deal with. Not a big deal. Not anything you haven't seen before. But we're getting close to fighting the Bell Gargoyles. We just have to go through the church, which will be pretty fun. And we're going to see a couple new enemy types in there, actually. And at the end of the video, stay tuned because I have a funny glitch that I would like to show you. The first time I was playing through this, relying solely on game capture on my Xbox, before I got a capture card, I went to fight I think it's a Knight of Berenique, that's in the chapel. And he had a very interesting glitch. So I recorded it on the Xbox game capture, so it'll have that black box around it, but I figured you guys would like it. So I will go ahead and throw it in at the end of this video. That crazy glitch. But anyway, I actually missed an item here. So right behind me right now on that ledge is going to be a body, and there's going to be an item on it. I completely forgot. It's pretty self-explanatory though. You just walk right across the board over to it, and if you fall, there's no penalty. It's not a big drop off or anything. But yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, so I'm struggling to find the door, even though I've played this game countless times. I knew there was a door up here, but I was like, wait a sec, where the heck's that door at? But there it is. So now we're going to continue on with the level. Alright, for this next section, the game's going to introduce some new enemies that are going to be a bit more challenging than the regular hollows we're used to fighting. And here's one of them. He's going to be pretty dangerous because he's going to get in a certain stance, and you'll see it, where he'll put his sword, he'll aim his sword towards us. And when he does that, he can parry our attacks and gank us pretty good. There we go. See, when he's in that position, don't swing on him, or he'll slap your sword away and he'll essentially parry you and stab you and do a ton of damage. Critical shot. So I would lure him down here where it's a little bit bigger of an area, and then you can circle around him. And like everything else in the game, circle around him, backstab. And then we will pick up a really cool shield. The Knight shield is very strong. Not as good as the shield we picked up on that Undead Dragon in the first episode, in my opinion, because it's a lot heavier, but I'm pretty sure it has better stats overall. Go ahead and check it out and compare it. So when we come in here, there's going to be a hollow to our immediate left that we're going to take out. He's got a spear and a shield, and you might miss him when you first come through, and then he'll kind of corner you down that hallway. So you got to be careful. Just always, be aware of your surroundings and listen for sound cues, because certain enemies are slow. They will aggro on you and then slowly make their way towards you and basically pop up at the worst possible time. So for this next area, it's going to be another little ambush kind of scenario. You got this guy coming from the left and the other guy coming from the right. But I usually just walk out there, get their attention, and then come down this hallway. Because this guy here, he's a lot faster. So he'll be much more aggressive coming at you than the spear and shield hollow. So usually he'll get down here, and I'll be able to take him out before the spear and shield hollow arrives. See, he's slowly making his way back there. This is why backstabs are very important. You can kill enemies much quicker, and with the invincibility frames, you don't leave yourself open. So, pretty overpowered. And to get rid of this guy, I swung on him to get him to do a normal attack, and then leave himself open, and now we're going to deal with the other. Alright, so now we're stuck in this hallway with this spear and shield hollow, which can be a bit of a pain, as you're going to see. But he doesn't do much, stamina damage, so just wait for him to bounce off your shield and continuously hit him. If you can't circle around the backstab, you just got to be a bit more strategic. So that left is going to lead us down to the opening of the chapel, the church. And over there will lead us to also to the church and a blacksmith. So out here, this is where we fought the boar. See, there's the fire right there. And this gate was closed on us when we came in. You can actually rush this gate when you first walk in that boar area. And you can get to this guy before he closes this gate, but I wouldn't recommend it because then everything's going to be aggroed on you. And unless you're speedrunning, we play the game. Normally we try to do everything and go everywhere. So the key we just picked up is going to lead us to the lower Undead Burg, and that's going to be the next area that we go through, and it's going to lead to the Capra Demon boss fight. But for now, we still have to take out the Bell Gargoyles, and we have to go pay Andre a visit. So we have more work to do here at the chapel. Alright, so now we're going to make our way into the chapel and deal with these guys. This guy aggroed on me and kind of rushed out, which is nice because normally when you go in there, if you just walk straight in, you're going to get 3-on-1 by these guys, and that can be pretty challenging. So what you're going to want to do, just like basically with every other area, is you want to lure them out one at a time. You don't want to get grouped up on. So I'm going to use my projectile to get this guy to aggro on me. And we are getting close to the Bell Gargoyles, which is going to be our next big boss fight. And make sure you still have that gold pine resin because it's going to be very effective against them. Gold pine resin is very effective against demonic enemies. So it works really well against the Capra Demon, against the Tauros Demon, and against the Bell Gargoyles. So with the golden pine resin, the early part of the game is going to be a lot easier. But just remember, you have to get that master key. If you don't have the master key, you won't get the gold pine resin. And all this will be a lot more challenging. So, yeah, that's why that gold pine resin is very, very important. It makes the first 3 bosses kind of a joke. That'll make it a lot easier. Now, keep in mind, if you're using the Drake sword, since it's already a magical sword, you can't put gold pine resin on it. But either way, the Drake sword is a phenomenal weapon, especially early on. It sort of becomes less effective later because you can't upgrade it as quickly because you can only use dragon scales. But it's still a great weapon, and it's really, really useful early on if you're having trouble. So now we're going to go around to the outside path of this chapel because we didn't want to go in the way we were going or we were going to get shot in the back by that caster. We're going to take these guys out, and then we're going to head over to a blacksmith. Now down by Andre the blacksmith is going to be a bonfire that we're going to use to refill our Estus flask because we're about ready to take our last drink. And it's not going to cause us any issues with enemies respawning because we don't have to go back through any of the other areas now. We can go right back through this. We'll just have to take these 3 hollows out again, and then we're going to go take on the Knight of Berenique. So you just take these guys out. Basic stuff, you've probably fought. And at this point, you've fought hundreds of hollows already, so you know what you're doing. I decide, since I'm out of Estus, to come down this way. So this is going to lead you to a very important merchant / blacksmith, Andre of Astora. Yeah, and he is from the same Astora as the guy we talked to in the very beginning, Oscar. And Andre has he apparently had a much more expanded role in the original design of the game, because there's concept art of him moving a passage in Firelink Shrine. So here's all the stuff. He will sell you Titanite shards, he will sell you weaponsmith boxes, armorsmith boxes. He'll sell you some weapons, and he'll sell you the Crest of Artorias, which you don't technically need, but it'd be more convenient to have it. It costs 20,000 souls. But later on in the game, that's not very much. And there is a section that you can farm just to get the 20,000 if you'd rather use that 20,000 on leveling up, just to buy the Crest of Artorias. So, and I'll talk about that. So after we rest at the bonfire, we're going to make our way up here. We're going to have to deal with these guys again, and then we're going to challenge a Knight of Berenique. He's going to be in the main chapter. And he is very intimidating, but he's not too bad because he can't really hit you very well. Just make sure you stay on his shield side, and there's not a lot to worry about. Just keep circling around him. He's kind of big and slow and dumb, so not much of a threat. And you'll fight a few Knights of Berenique throughout your playthrough. There he is. He's protecting a body that has a Firekeeper soul on it. So just be wary. I mean, he's got that, you know, mace, so can't backstab him. But just do what I do. Just stay behind him. And when you get in front of him, try to rotate around his shield side. And keep your shield up, as you can see, because even though it doesn't quite make a lot of sense, he still hits you in the end of some of those swings. See, I got stuck on the wall there. But you can definitely tank his swings if your endurance is high enough. I don't have particularly high endurance on this character, so because I was putting all my level ups into strength. But yep, just occasionally tank his swings, circle around him, and stab him in the back. Rinse and repeat. And he'll go down like a sweet muffin. See, he's going to try to heal. Be careful. A lot of enemies in the game can heal. I forgot to mention that. They have Estus Flasks and they'll pull them out. And when you see that, rush them. Rush them and start swinging. But be careful that you don't leave yourself open. This can take a while, especially if you're using a dagger. But thankfully he's dead now. And we got a piece of his armor, which is nice. The steel armor. Pretty cool. I'll briefly show it here. I'm not going to equip it because it's a lot heavier than what I'm currently wearing, but there you go. I wish I would have got the boar helm. When you kill that boar, sometimes it'll drop a helmet. That looks pretty cool. So I'm just going to skip through this because I already killed these guys. But I'm basically getting their attention from the other side now and luring them out with magic. All the while that channeler up there is shooting at me. So I try to cheese him from range with my magic, but every time I hit him, he moves back a bit, and then he got out of my range. And anyway, I decided to unlock the shortcut to Firelink Shrine, so kind of wasted my time a bit there, but oh well. So see this? This is going to activate a elevator that leads us down to Firelink Shrine, and it's going to give us the opportunity to get to the Undead Asylum again as well. If you go into the Undead Asylum, you'd want to stay on that path that I was just on before I jumped off. But I have to come here and level up, and I wanted to use that Firekeeper Soul to level up my Estus Flask. So if you pick up Firekeeper Souls, always make sure you bring them to a Firekeeper and have her upgrade your Estus Flask. So now we have the Estus Flask +1. So yeah, this is kind of a nasty ambush, and it's a lot like the story of this area. You're going to be fighting that Knight of Berenique. The reason why I drew him out to the courtyard that I was in is if you're fighting him in the church, you're going to have that channeler shooting you in the back the whole time. It's one of those situations where you're fighting an enemy and then there's another enemy behind you spamming projectiles. Same with the Tauros demon, same with several interactions in this area. This guy can be pretty annoying. And oftentimes glitchy on the stairs here. But you can't kick his shield out of his hand. He's a bit stronger than the other ones. So now this next section is going to be a bit of an ambush scenario as well. Because you have this channeler and he's going to power up all these hollows and then he's going to send them at you. Now I get a bit lucky because he aggroes on me instead of doing his little chant and powering them up. So you'll be able to tell when they're powered up because they'll have an aura on them. But there's a lot of them. I would recommend having a regular sword and just using your thrust attack down this narrow hallway because it can get pretty messy when you have a bunch of them on you, you're trying to swing, you're hitting the wall, you know, then they're hitting you and they can take you out very quickly. But just keep using a, you know, piercing attack and you're good to go. This guy's a total wuss. You can just run up on him and start wailing on him. He really can't do anything up close. Those spells are devastating if they hit you, but see, he'll swing his little scepter and it barely even affects our stamina. So, he is donezo. And those guys are total freaking creeps. If you know about their lore, they would abduct girls for Seath the Scaleless, who's a boss we'll talk about later. But they're total creeps, so good riddance. So now there's going to be a door this way that we're going to go through, and we're going to bust somebody out of prison. Someone who we probably shouldn't bust out of prison, honestly, because he's a jerk, and he's going to kind of screw us over later. This guy can be a bit of a pain, just like the other one, because you're on the stairs, he can get in that riposte stance, and, you know, whenever he gets in that stance, I just kick him, and it knocks him out of it. I don't know why I didn't kill him there. It's open. There he goes. For some reason, he just lost interest and started to turn away, and I don't know what he's thinking. So as we come this way, we're going to get an item first. We're up at the top of the chapel now. And this guy has an item on him. Some humanity. And then we're going to break this door. And what do we find? It's a little jail cell. Where somebody is locked up.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck.
And if you agree to help him, you can bust him out.
As you can see, I am stuck.
The thing is, he's gonna kill your firekeeper. You know, spoiler alert: he will kill your firekeeper in Firelink Shrine. So you can get her back, but it involves invading his world and taking him and 2 of his friends on at the same time, and you can't heal with Estus during that, so it can be very annoying. So your first playthrough, I would not recommend breaking him out and letting him go about doing that. I would just leave him in there. But if you want to kill him and you want his stuff, then yes, you can break him out and then just immediately aggro on him. But just keep in mind, his weapon, the shottle, is it'll go over your shield. So I run back to Firelink Shrine here to restore my humanity, because I remembered, oh, I need to be in human form, because you can't summon NPC phantoms unless you're in human form. So keep that in mind. So whenever you get to the boss, you want to be in human form, and I'm just going to speed this up. Taking out those hollows. So instead of going left like we did to Lautrec, that guy we busted out of jail, we're going to go right. And we're going to make our way up this ladder here. And there's going to be another ladder. And we're about ready to fight the Bell Gargoyles. Remember, have that gold pine resin ready. And if you're in human form and you've talked to Solaire, he'll appear here. So we're going to go ahead and summon him. If you summon NPCs, it'll make your game a lot easier if you're having trouble. And then we had a hollow here who late aggro. That was, what I was talking about earlier in the video. Just be patient and listen, listen closely, because enemies are kind of random sometimes. They'll aggro on you and you won't even know it. And like that guy down there, I don't know where he was or what he was doing, but somehow we missed him and he decided to aggro on me after the fact or whatever he did, I don't know. But he could have easily came up and got me and stabbed me from behind and ruined, or potentially ruined, my boss fight. So when you walk out here, these gargoyles are going to get up. And what's going to happen is you're going to fight one first, and then you're going to fight the other. The second one's only going to have half health. But as you can see, you'll already see, the gold pine resin is very effective. And Solera has a lightning strike ability that is also very effective. So with the gold pine resin, see how much damage. This is with the dagger too, so you'll do more damage with your weapon. I'm not trying to discredit the dagger. See, Solera hit him with the lightning strike and how much damage that did. You want to try to cut the tail here. I didn't do it, but if you cut the tail, you can get him out. It's a great axe. So here comes the other gargoyle. He's just going to blow fire, so you just walk up and start wailing on him. And that's literally it. We got the gargoyle home. Cool. That's literally it. Use gold pine resin, walk up and wail on him. Honestly, that gold pine resin just makes these first few bosses a bit of a joke. But this is a walkthrough after all, so I'm supposed to be making this as easy as possible for you guys. So that's why I highly recommend getting the master key and getting the gold pine resin. And now we've made our way all the way to the top of the bell tower. We're going to continue climbing these ladders and we're going to ring the first bell, which is our first goal in the game, is to ring the two bells, and we're going to ring the first one that's up on top of the chapel. The other one's going to be way, way down underground. We got to go through a nasty sewer, got to go through nasty Blight Town, and we got to go through a gross swamp. And then we'll fight a boss. That's probably going to trigger a lot of people's phobias. And then we ring the second bell. But anyway, we rang that bell, so that's nice. And I'm not going to cut the video just yet. That is the extent of this video, but I want to show you one other NPC that'll appear after you ring that bell. And what he does is he sells some cool items. He'll sell you items so you can invade bad players' worlds. It's called the Book of the Guilty. You can see who's, been evil in their game or not. He'll also forgive your sins. So if you hit a NPC on accident, come to this guy and you can pay him to make that NPC not mad at you anymore. As you can see, he sells curse spells, a witch's talisman, and some rings. A ring of sacrifice, blood bite ring, and a poison bite ring. Pretty cool. But just keep in mind, when you use his forgiveness ability, it costs a crap ton of souls. It has something to do with your soul level multiplied. So just keep that in mind. Now, as promised, I have that glitch for you guys. This I recorded with game DVR off the Xbox One. It was a much older playthrough. Actually, my original playthrough I was going to do for this walkthrough. But anyway, take these guys out and then you will see our new enemy. And he can be quite difficult because he is partially obstructed by the ground. Now, and clearly he still wants to do battle. I don't think he notices the predicament he's in here. But he's very gung-ho. I mean, he's ready to go. He doesn't think this is slowing him down or hindering him in any way. And as you can see, if I get near him, he immediately swings. He is still pissed off and he hasn't quit. But we're gonna quit. We're just gonna avoid that whole mess there and just walk away, because what can he do about it? He's stuck in the ground. And that's going to wrap this video up. So this has been part 3 of Joystick Studios' cumulative walkthrough of Dark Souls. If you like what you saw here and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks.